Beware, I live.
Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and WellUnreal007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
I have no idea how to talk backwards, but I am Blondeguygamer, and as for the other two, I guess you'll just have to download the video and reverse it to see what they said.
After 1 year, I'm finally free. It's time to conquer podcast. Name's AngelHalo. Nice to meet you guys.
Gaming news! So real.
And our gaming news starts with responsible adults.
This day and age?
Yeah, relevant since AngelHalo's on the podcast.
Hello.
For this, we go to the United Kingdom, where 86% of parents admit they do not follow age restrictions on games at all.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
Yeah, isn't that really surprising considering parents will just buy their kids Call of Duty regardless if it's M-rated or not?
It's interesting you're saying the UK specifically for this.
Well, that's where that particular study came from apparently, but
whereas the US 100%.
well, I guess it wouldn't be so much Call of Duty. I guess it wouldn't be so much Call of Duty, it'd be Fortnite.
Fortnite isn't M-rated, so
okay, but that tons of kids play that, I imagine, because it's popular. So
I was gonna say here, behind the times, it's Fortnite now. That's why all the newer games must have that Royale. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all. The way I see it, the parent just buys a game and just drops it on the kid. Nowadays, I see kids on tablets and phones, and they'll just download all sorts of unregulated stuff from the Play Store.
I mean, that's always been kind of just been a thing since pretty much any depiction of violent or mature-rated games, like back when Mortal Kombat and all that. Like, a lot of parents either don't really know or just are just like, oh, it's a video game. They know it's just a game.
Well, let's put this in context. 86% don't follow age restrictions on games. How many said they don't follow age restrictions on movies?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'd imagine that it would be more because movies are usually depicted more realistically, obviously because most are live action stuff. So if an R-rated movie would be a lot more impactful in that sense, and that way parents would be like, oh no, we shouldn't let kids see that.
I think part of that plays into the fact that most of the people go to the movies, and then you'll have the clerks flat out tell you that it's rated R. Is your kid going to be okay with that? That sort of thing. Because before you can even buy the ticket, they have to ask, and then
and they have to be with an adult or stuff like that.
Now, with a video game, of course, I see without fail, well, at least at GameStop, well, they'll always let the parent know what the kid is going to have to expect. And then even with me, they'll card me if it's an M-rated game. But, whatever. It tells me that they don't think I'm 27. Okay, cool. I'm still young.
Take it as a compliment.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's one thing to get carded for when you're if you want to get beer or something, but then it's like for an M-rated game.
I got carded the last time I bought spray paint. That made me feel so good. Just for reference, though, the people on the survey, 23% said they don't follow age restrictions on movies. So there's quite a gap there.
Oh, there was an actual. Okay. But yeah, that's what I imagined.
And I'm a little more surprised about this in the UK because we have the ESRB here, where you'll see an E or a T or an M, and then in the little print below it, it says what the age is. Whereas in the UK, they have the PEGI system, which clearly shows this is for 3 and up, 7 and up, 16 and up.
Yeah, it's still a similar rating system, though.
It's similar, but it's a lot clearer, like, what age group it's for. Just at a glance.
Yeah, but that doesn't really stop parents from being like, oh, my kid wants it, you know?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually still have the box to the NES Classic and SNES Classic. The NES Classic I imported from the UK, so I could see the big difference you mentioned with the ESRB and the PEGI system. Okay, the ESRB is about the size of my thumbnail, but the PEGI system, I need like 2 whole thumbs to cover it. Just to give you an idea how big it is. And it just flats out tell you what age too. So I'm not sure if it's really the fact that it's not clear enough. I would think that the clerks at the front would just tell the parent ahead of time because, you know, you've heard the same stories before. Or parent buys a game, parent gets warned but buys it anyway. Then imagine the shock as the game turns out to be violent. And then it's like,
I'd imagine that most at least know what they're going into, but they just figured, oh, it's a video game, it'll be fine, type of thing.
It's okay.
Well, we go from having the power to not give your kids games they're not supposed to be playing, to X power. Splatoon 2.
you know, Splatoon 2 is so great. Why ain't there a Splatoon 3 yet?
Don't worry about it.
Splatoon
Also,
2 is
he's
only a year old.
referencing the X rankings.
Well, specifically, I'm referencing something that happened with the X rankings lately.
I actually kind of, it's funny, off podcast, I talked about this yesterday, so I actually know what you're going into, but this is something.
So, there have been issues with cheaters on Splatoon 2, and someone took a rather creative way of getting Nintendo to do something about it, or at least bringing it to their attention. So, for a while, the leaderboards for the top players on X-Power, ranking 1 through 4, were please, add, anti, and cheat.
That's one way to bring the attention.
No kidding.
This was all done by one guy with a series of alt accounts.
That is a very dedicated player. You know, say what you will about people not having lives or anything, that takes dedication to bring the issue at heart. Normally people would just give up on the game, and that's how the community dissipates.
Well, the community in Splatoon has always been pretty high, and even then, it's like, at least from what I've played, I haven't really encountered like any like cheaters or whatever. But then again, I'm obviously not in like the X Power rank or whatever. Like, but still, it's funny, but also kind of like, oh yeah, this is kind of like something that does need to be addressed, obviously.
And yeah, back when I played, I didn't encounter hacking of sort. Instead, I encountered bad people who would have sex in the corner on my team and not actually play the fucking game.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
Vaguely? Oh man, I got so upset on Twitter about that. I'm just like, you know what? Why the fuck are you playing the game then? Like,
you know,
fucking sell it if you're gonna be that.
Small segue, but I remember when I was at a buddy's house, he was playing Rainbow Six Vegas, and he was overhearing a guy having sex while the game was going on.
Oh no! No.
They had their own siege going on.
Yeah, this is like... Mine's at least different. They're like squid bagging in the corner. No, you're just overhearing the nasties.
And that's why Splatoon 2 doesn't have my communications.
Now I get it.
Now you totally get it. At least it's not Uno on Xbox where you would probably be able to see it when you're playing a game through the fucking Xbox Live camera.
Okay, so Splatoon 2.
Needless to say, Nintendo has banned all those accounts. No word yet on whether they're actually doing anything about that, but if they do, they better do it before they make people start paying for the online.
So is that only a problem in a higher rate? Like, I'm not sure how the online works for Splatoon. I'm assuming there's like a for fun and a competitive mode to it.
I wouldn't say it's that. It's more so like there's just the regular Splatfest, and then there's like the ranked stuff you can do.
Okay, so I'm assuming this problem's more apparent on the ranked stuff.
It's more like for the X Power, like the people who want to go for like the top leaderboard stuff, but people have done exploits or whatever to just get on there, and that's how the one guy was able to just do it with like 4 counts and being like, "Hey, Nintendo, we should do something about that."
Let's step away from Splatoon 2 for a little bit and talk about something we have never, ever in our history of the podcast talked about: Monster Hunter World.
Well, we haven't played in a little while, but we probably will get back to it soon because of like the summer event and the behemoth and all that.
I just realized I haven't played ever since I got it, like the month that I got it.
Now you know how I play games, where I buy it and don't play it.
That's what everyone does if they get a decent amount of games. Don't worry.
That's a really good game.
I did finally hear that it's coming to PC, so I'm gonna have to buy it again. That was my original plan.
Yes, it is coming to PC, and it's not going to have cross-platform or mod support.
I kind of had a feeling it wasn't gonna have cross-platform.
I also wasn't expecting mod support, primarily because of how like it's usually connected to online. Like you can still play the game offline, but in general.
Well, my 2 remarks to that: to no mod support, don't worry, people will find a way. They always will.
Yeah.
And B, cross-platform. Is that like a decision on Sony's part, or is that Capcom's decision? Because I know Sony's notorious about the whole cross-play decision.
I'm assuming it's Capcom, because if they wanted it in, it would have been between
Xbox
PC and
One,
console.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe because of everything on PC, I don't know. But even then, like Xbox is able to do it with some games, and PC has like all these graphical options still. So I don't know. Maybe they couldn't find a way, or they just didn't bother.
You mean I could play Monster Hunter World with 4K and at 60 frames per second, and I have to pick between the two?
You need a good computer to run it, but probably.
I think the lack of crossplay would kind of hurt it personally, because, again, everyone has their little systems to play on, and a lot of you guys are on PS4. I've been holding out for the PC version for the longest time.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like most people already got the game on PS4, and the PC version is definitely a nice option. It's just a matter of like how many people will actually hop on board on the PC version. Like obviously those that don't have a console or just want to prefer to play it on PC. I definitely see those people wanting to play this version. But other than that, I imagine the majority is still going to be on PS4, at least for the time being.
Also, I just realized with how the server system works in World, they would have to like kind of overhaul it a little bit to get cross-platform on, because like they don't want to like accidentally do something where like, oh, Xbox actually is playing with PS4, totally feasible, but Sony hates it, and like all that stuff. So I guess it just may not have been technically possible. They would have had to like overhaul it across like even consoles. Like they'd have to like update the console version to like change how the servers work a little bit just to get it to work with PC, for example.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, it's one thing to have like be able to cross play on like in something like Rocket League, but Monster Hunter is, well, kind of a different thing in that way.
Well, how about we go to a game that has been modded quite a bit? Aliens Colonial Marines.
I know where this is going.
Hey, that's still relevant.
Kind of, at least from something that someone found out, which I imagine where this is going.
Jordan, if you're not familiar with this, get ready.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a modder of Aliens Colonial Marines who found a way to massively improve the game's AI, particularly when it comes to xenomorphs. Can you guess how they did it?
I can come up with a few guesses. You tell me.
He fixed a typo in a line of code.
That was one of my guesses. Like they locked it away for some reason. That's what it sounds like.
Well, I wouldn't say locked away. More so, it's like they overlooked a typo in the code, literally.
Randy Pitchford be like, "This is my masterpiece. Buy it."
So specifically, the line was, attach Xeno to tether. It's supposed to say tether. But they just took out the A, and now it works.
So is this kind of like advanced AI that was in Half-Life 2 but can't quite work out too well because everything's so enclosed, except this is the case of someone just messing up a word?
Well, with the typo, the line of code did absolutely nothing. But with the line of code, it helps with this tether system where in combat it decides like where it should move and gives it more awareness of all the different entry and exit points around it.
Yeah, that way the xenomorphs actually behave more like, the actual xenomorphs, and not just like flail in front of you just for them to get shot.
I still have like Watch Dogs in my mind where they intentionally gimped the PC version, but you're telling me this one was just gimped by accident.
No, this was just incompetence.
I'm more surprised at the fact that there's a modding community.
Yeah,
Dude, what won't people mod?
like there's people that are trying to like overhaul like Sonic 06. Like there's no shortage of people trying to fix these types of games. But
You got me.
I mean, it is kind of a almost hilarious oversight where it's just like, wow, really? That's the only reason why the AI was as bad as it is. But we do have to keep in mind that like programming any game is an arduous task, and even with the amount of like going over and quality assurance and all that, stuff can still slip through the cracks, and even as something as silly as like this typo, as dumb as it may be, to be like, wow, they missed that. And even then, like, the bad AI was only one of the problems that game has. Like, overall, it was just bad to begin with everything else practically. But
Well, I do happen to have a download for Aliens Colonial Marines, so maybe.
Wait, a free Steam code?
I bought it on sale for like $250.
Oh,
well, I mean, for $250, it's like, might as well go dirt cheap with it. But yeah,
now you can fix the AI and see it for yourself.
Yeah, just change the line of code. That actually does remind me. Back when I got Jazz Jackrabbit on Google Games, controller support didn't work, and like the controller would be like messed up. The directional inputs would like freak out because if I try to use a controller, and I actually found out through the forums that I just had to like go open a file in Notepad and change a character, and that fixed it. So this kind of thing does happen in other games too. Now, granted, this is like an old DOS game to try and get like a modern controller to work with it, so it is a little bit different. But still, I just find it funny that something that simple, where all you have to do is just change a letter in a Notepad and then save it. That can fix something in a PC game. That's just how programming works, I guess.
It's always so amusing when the tiniest of mistakes cause catastrophic problems.
Welcome to making video games.
This is why I'm not a doctor.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a gamer or something. I don't know. But yeah, Colonial Marine sucks. I don't know if I'll get it on PC, even with that fix, it still probably sucks anyway. Although I probably will eventually do a video on the 360 version I have, like the big collector's edition that Zero Master gave me a few years ago.
Well, how about playing it on Switch?
Huh?
No, it's not actually coming to Switch.
No, I mean it got canceled on Wii U. Oh wait, the canceled
definitive version on Switch.
The canceled Wii U version is
AI.
It was coming to Wii U, and they were gonna have a little accessory that you attach the controller onto.
What I was trying to get is like the canceled Wii U version is now coming to Switch.
That's basically Payday. Yeah, Payday 2 on Switch is basically... Anyway, point it.
Yeah, what about the Switch?
Well, they're talking a lot about how important independent developers are to their online storefronts. And they specifically said this line. This is from, Senior Executive Officer Susumu Tanaka. He said, in the future, we're looking to release around 20 to 30 indie games on Nintendo Switch per week. And to Mr. Tanaka, I say this. Don't become Steam.
Oh boy, so Switch Greenlight, when?
Greenlight in its original form, I would actually be okay with, but toward the end where they just said, fuck it, you guys take care of it, and just started letting every single game come through.
No, dude, this is a perfect opportunity for the sequel of Meme Run. I do agree that more indie games for the Switch would definitely be a good thing. I mean, we got Undertale coming to it, for example.
Hollow Knight is doing really well on it.
Oh yeah, like indie games are doing very well on the Switch. It's just, I guess it is just a little bit of a matter of like, we just hope it just doesn't get too blown out of proportion, because that's kind of what happened with Steam as of lately. Because there's so many games just getting released because of how successful the platform is, and then it would get kind of like the bubble would kind of like get a little overblown, and then hopefully it just doesn't burst, you know.
Well, one thing that is going in Nintendo's favor is they don't have easily exploitable systems for financial gain like Steam has, particularly the trading card system.
I guess that's true. Well, I guess the closest thing to that would be like what is it, like the
reward system, where any digital purchase you made gives you back coins.
Yeah, but that can go towards just like what, a discount or something on your next
something purchases? Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the amount of coins you get versus the discount you eventually get doesn't work out. Nintendo's reward system is not even like a speck on what it used to be. It's weird I'm saying this as a positive thing for preventing like shit games from going on their storefront is, well, their reward system sucks, so there's less incentive to put.
Yeah, and lack of a refund option probably works in their favor.
Yeah, and the quality control, at least of what I've seen of the indie games that have been on Switch so far, has been pretty good. Like, we haven't seen, like, for example, I think I've only saw like maybe like one game that was a Fearless on there. And even then it was like one of the quote-unquote higher-end ones you did, Scott. So I think it was Joe's Diner or something.
We're gonna call that high-end?
Oh, we gotta see many Five Nights clones.
Dude, we've seen all the games you've done for Fearless. Like, there's actual tiers of games that you've done on that.
Well, that will do it for gaming news. So that is going to bring us into now playing. What have you guys been playing lately? Angel, you haven't been here for a while. Why don't you lead off?
I was kind of pleasantly surprised when I got into Yakuza 0. And I've been working a lot, so I'm exaggerating when I say that it took me about a month or so in order to finish the game. At least get the main story and get the main side story involving with both characters. The real estate and the cabaret club. I was just coming home from work every day, practically skipping workouts just to play this game because I was really surprised at how really enjoyable it is.
I'll just say, you taking a month to beat it isn't that bad. It's a long game.
It's surprisingly long if you're going for the sub-stories. And I love it, too. I kind of wish I finished the sub-stories sooner because unlocking the 4th style is so fun. And I've only recently started on Kiwami, and I find myself enjoying that, too. I haven't really played that much besides Yakuza 0. Again, because of work. Well, there is one other game that I haven't played in a while, but has been a thrill to play. Have you guys heard of Dusk?
Yes.
You see, I'm a sucker when it comes to original Quake. Like, one night, I'll be like, you know what, let's pop on some Quake, and then that'll just be my game for the whole week. And Dusk is basically Quake 2.0 for me.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Is Dusk fully out yet?
I don't think so. It's still just the 2 episodes. It's not expensive either. It's $20 flat. It's really fun. I like the fact that you can adjust the pixelization for the game. Like if you want the original DOS look, or if you want to make it look more like GL Quake, that sort of thing. And I find myself having a lot of fun with a Twitch shooter like this. I definitely recommend it if you love old school 3D shooters. It also has a multiplayer mode. It's not populated. In fact, the most of a game I've gotten into was with 3 other players. But they do have a few dedicated servers, so you can get a group going easy. I want to say that's about it. Yeah, that's about it for right now.
Okay, I'll go next. Now, I have been playing a few games, but they're for videos that I'm working on, so I can't really talk about them. So that leaves me with talking about Hall of Fame Ultimate Hoops Challenge. If you don't know what this is, and I'd just assume you don't know what this is, I hope you didn't know what this was. It's a shovelware game for the Wii. I played it on stream not too long ago.
Oh, right. Oh, God. I forgot about this.
I haven't seen that.
I saw it.
Oh boy, I'm so excited for the episode I never watched.
This game somehow has a deal with the NBA Hall of Fame to include a bunch of famous basketball players in it, although I noticed most of them were from the same 2 teams, so might be a slight bit of bias when they selected the rosters for this. Anyway, it's basically just a bunch of mini games where you're either shooting baskets or engaging in dunk contests. And I'll explain how both of those work so you can understand just how crappy this is. The shooting contests, it's basically a playground game called Around the World, where you shoot from several different locations on the court. You have a 3-point shooting contest, which is like the All-Star Game event. And you have this, I don't even know how to describe this. You have like 20-something different positions on the court you can pick to shoot from, and then you earn points, except the points don't make any sense. Because you get like 60 points for making a basket that's like 5 feet away, and then 100 points for getting a 3-point. It doesn't make sense, the scoring system.
So is it like Whose Lines? The points don't matter?
Except they do matter because it has like a high scoreboard and you're going against the CPU and...
Oh, well...
And it somehow unlocks things. I have no idea how the unlockables in this game work. Because there were some times that I just flat out dominated and then unlocked nothing. And then there were times I lost and unlocked 2 or 3 different things. The problem with all of those competitions is the shooting just does not work. It's one of those things where you're actually supposed to mimic the shooting motion with the Wii remote. And you like hold B and then let go of B as you're making the swing forward. Because this worked so well for that Stone Keep WiiWare game. As a result, I just had no idea how to get the shot sensitivity right when you're trying to get things that are close to the basket, far away from the basket. And then the dunk contest. Dear God. So the way this works is you choose from a selection of dunks. Half of them are locked because you have to unlock them. But the CPU can still use them, which is great because the unlockable ones have like a higher score ceiling than the ones that aren't. So for each dunk, there's like a set amount of motions you have to do to successfully make it. And you get those motions by the game randomly telling you, okay, this is the motion you have to make with the Wii remote. For whatever reason, all the gestures moving to the right had a hard time registering. And I even tried like positioning myself directly in front of the sensor, like above it, below it, on line with it, just trying to make sure that I was in the right position, and I could not get this consistent. Also, the way that it judges scoring is reaction time to the different steps of the dunk. So if you get it really quickly, that'll give you like a gold rating. It goes gold, silver, bronze. But they don't randomize the inputs. So for every dunk, you could just intentionally go through and then fail at the last step, and you will know all the inputs you have to do, and you can just get the maximum score every time.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming like the gestures would even work in the first place, what would be the moves that you would have to do in order to do a chaos dunk from Barclay's shop, the Gem Gaiden?
Okay, you have to move it up, and then to the left, and then to the right, then down, then backward and forward, up, down, right, left, forward, forward, back down, up, left, diagonally up and to the right, and then down.
And then you nuke the entire world.
And then the game gets wiped from existence.
And then it carries over into the sequel that still has yet to come out.
So the thing about this is, even if you are cool with minigames, and even if you don't have problems with the controls, it takes so goddamn long to unlock anything of consequence in this game. Like, it starts off with, I want to say, 8 players, and then you can see that there are clearly at least 8 more. I played this game for a little over an hour, and I did not unlock any of them. Most of the unlockables you do get are extra courts. I think I unlocked 1 extra dunk. And you'll probably guess this, but they look like shit.
What would you expect from a unknown basketball game that has a budget of a joke I was going to make and completely slipped through my mind?
It has a budget.
They had enough money to get actual NBA Hall of Fame players in their game.
And that was it.
And that was it.
That's probably all, yeah.
It's like when they have the budget to get Bill Lambier and do absolutely nothing else to improve the game.
Most of the environments in this game are populated by maybe 6 people. I say maybe because sometimes it's clearly just 1 or 2 people in the stands.
Hey, it works for us because we can use SeatGeek to find...
Oh, and every time you score a basket in this game, fireworks happen directly on top of the hoop. And in the slam dunk contest, there will be like generic text blurb pop-ups that say like awesome or cool, except the camera's in the wrong position, so all you see is some or cool. And before each shot you try to take, someone passes you the ball, except you can clearly see it is coming from absolutely nobody. So the ball just comes out of a black hole, and you automatically start with it. I have already given this game way too much time on this podcast, so don't even try it. Just let's move on. Blondie, what have you been playing?
Okay, well, I've definitely played stuff that's been better than that.
Setting the bar low. Good.
You're the one that played Shovelware off from GameFly, so what I've actually been playing like a lot lately is ever since back in E3 when Fallout 76 came out, I've been on a bit of a Fallout kick, you know, I guess to just sort of prepare myself for the new game in a way, but they also announced that Fallout Shelter was going to be on PS4 and Switch, and while I didn't get Fallout Shelter on either of those, I did decide, you know what, it's free, I might as well just try it out. I got it on Steam. Now, it was originally a mobile game, but it actually plays pretty well on Steam because I figured I'd just get it on there because it's like uses a mouse and that integrates, you know, the touchscreen controls pretty well. Because with the other versions, and I think with the Steam version too, you can use a controller, but it would seem a little counterintuitive considering it was originally designed to be a touchscreen type of game on a mobile device. But yeah, it's a fairly enjoyable free-to-play management type of game that's sort of set within the Fallout universe. You basically build your vault, you get people in your vault, you assign your people to different things. depending on their stats and what works best. Like people who have high strength, for example, you assign them to are best assigned to like power stations so they can generate power to keep your vault running, that type of thing. And eventually you can send them out to do quests or explore and find materials, and you can make all sorts of stuff and weapons and things like that. And there is microtransactions in the sense of like there's lunch boxes, which is basically this game's loot boxes, but you can find those occasionally for free. So it's not reliant on you being like, hey, buy this stuff. It's more so just tucked away in an area where it's like, hey, you can buy more if you want, or you can buy Nuka-Cola Quantums, which basically allows you to complete tasks instantly, because there is a lot of timer stuff based in this. Like you have to send people out to quests, and it'll take like several hours in real time for them to go to it and stuff like that. But if you have like Nuka-Cola Quantums, you can just boom, send them, let them arrive instantly. And that's another thing you can buy, but you can still get Nuka-Cola Quantums now and then just on their own for free. So in that sense, as a free-to-play mobile game, it actually is fine just to play. Like, you don't have to pay anything really, unless you're like really impatient or you're just like, okay, I really want to do this type of thing. Because the only thing that like was like where it felt like, oh geez, this is gonna take a while for it to actually get done. If done is because I recently started crafting a legendary weapon, which is like this, like a big powerful minigun type of weapon. But when I got the materials and started crafting it, the timer said it would take about like 5 days. So I have to wait like 5 days for this minigun to get finished. I'm patient, I can wait for it, and then it'll be worth it to like use it in quests and stuff. It's actually a pretty fun, just something just to play every now and then, like just it's just something kind of just to play every day type of thing. And I've been having fun with it, just as like a little Fallout spin-off type of thing. Although the funny thing is that because I have been playing it fairly frequently in the past month or so, I actually have more hours into it than I do with like some of the other Fallout games I've played, like 4 and New Vegas. So I need to go back to those games too, but it's just funny that I've been playing this more than the actual Fallout games.
I hear New Vegas is really good because the original people who worked on the original games actually worked on it.
Yeah, I mean, New Vegas is good. I'm just a little tired that like it has kind of like this preconceived notion where it's like where it's like the most elite Fallout fans are like, oh, this is the only good modern Fallout game. I'm just like, I like 3 and 4 just fine.
I think it depends on where you look at it. Because
I know, but I'm just a tad tired of like the purist attitude of like of the Fallout, of like the diehard old school Fallout fans are like, oh, New Vegas is the only good one. You know, after the first 2 anyway. But
yes.
that's just that's another can of worms really.
If New Vegas is so good, why isn't there a New Vegas 2?
Because then that would be Old Vegas, and then the cycle just repeats where you have to keep changing the name for each new one.
No, because Bethesda is the ones making the Fallouts now. Obsidian made New Vegas, so unless Obsidian makes another Fallout, we're just going to be stuck with East Coast Fallout, which the original fans won't like regardless. But yeah, Fallout Shelter is, for all intents and purposes, actually a good mobile game. I don't play a lot of mobile games, and even though this is just a Steam port, but pretty much plays pretty much just like it. And it controls fine enough on PC, you know, using the mouse and all that. Although I did find it a little bit annoying to like have to like you have to like click and then drag to move your camera, and sometimes you like accidentally click a person, and because you click on people to move them, and sometimes you click on the person and you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to grab you or move you there. It's like that, but it's just a minor inconvenience, annoyance really, because you know it was meant to be on the phone. But yeah, I've actually been just having fun with that. Just sort of just as just a little thing just to play now and then. As for what else I've played recently, I played a bit of a couple other games. Ever since Unraveled 2 got announced, I decided to get the first Unravel on PlayStation 4 because it was like $5 on sale, and it's actually a nice, charming little side scroller platformer thing where you play as like a little yarn dude, and you basically just go across different levels, and you reach checkpoints in order to like keep going because you're basically leaving a trail of yarn as you go, but you start to run out of yarn until you reach these checkpoints. And then you can sort of use your own yarn to like tether your to sort of tie your yarn down onto stuff, as well to like lasso to grab and swing onto stuff. And there is some neat little physics-based puzzles based on that. For example, you can tether two ends of your yarn, and then sort of like, and then hold down and then jump up higher to reach something. And you can also use it to like push objects over it and stuff like that. I've only played like a couple levels of it so far, but so far it's been a fun enough game. But anyway, with all that rambling, that's basically what I've been playing recently, so that should be it.
Unreal.
All right, I've got not a lot, believe it or not, but I guess I'll start off by saying I recently started streaming the first Devil May Cry. And I did it with the moniker of being the world's worst player.
Even though you're not.
It got me a viewer that stuck through the whole thing, so I'm not gonna hear any sass from you. I played a very small bit of it a couple years ago when I picked up 1, 2, and 3. This former game store that was in my town actually had the 5th anniversary edition for PS2 for sale, which was basically like a box set that had 1, 2, and 3 special edition. Back in the day, I kind of just like played, well, back in the day, God, no. A few years ago, I played a little bit of it, had a rough time. I got as far as like the 5th mission before putting it away and saying like, hey, the game works, and then just moving on. So after playing DMC4, I'm just like, maybe I should actually play through these, maybe. And then I'm just like, you know what, let's stream it. And that's what I'm doing. So far on the stream, I'm roughly halfway through the game. I think I'm on mission 12 out of, 22, 23 missions. So I'd say I'm roughly halfway through. Definitely having a way better time, though there's still some problems with it being the first Devil May Cry and it being old. It has an even worse camera than DMC4 did. The very first spider boss, it's just like a lot of moments where I'm like, okay, I need to dodge these attacks. Oh, the camera changed. Uh-oh, guess I'm jumping into the attack now. Oh, boy. And also the controls, like, in general, the controls still feel good, but they're not as refined, and my big problem is that they're mapped differently compared to, like, say, again, Devil May Cry 4. Because I'm like, all right, time to attack my sword, and I jump, and I'm like, uh-oh. Because, like, jumping is triangle now instead of attack. The sword is circle. The guns are the same, but in Devil May Cry 1, you cannot fire your guns unless, A, you're in mid-air, or B, you're holding R1. So you can't just, like, fire the guns without locking on, for example. So that took a little bit to get used to. Also, you can fire the guns with the X button as well. So there's like 2 gun buttons, but they both require holding the lock-on button. In general, I'm like having a lot more fun than I was sort of expecting. I'm doing better than I was expecting on this one. It was still kind of rough at the start, but it's kind of getting better as it goes on.
See, you're not the worst Devil May Cry player.
No, I still am. I still am, because I still died
sure.
early.
Even though you've actually gotten...
I don't know, C ranks are telling me otherwise. The game says I suck.
Okay, look, I only have the first Devil May Cry, and I've only played a tiny bit of it years ago, and you've already exceeded past what I played like tremendously. And I guarantee that if I played it, I would probably have a rougher time getting into it than you have, because you at least had like 4 Devil May Cry 4 going into this one and stuff like that.
It sounds like to me the combat system has higher standards with what it expects out of the player, because I played Rising all the way through and it sort of has that expectation where I would often get Bs and sometimes I'll get As in combat, never S's.
You mean Metal Gear Rising?
Yeah.
Okay, just
The funny thing about Metal Gear Rising is like sometimes like you can still get S and you can get hit, for example. So it's not like you can't like I guess on boss fights that's like the one exception, but you can S rank and still get hit. There's just like a lot of things you gotta follow up with that in Rising. I think the weird thing with the standards on Devil May Cry 1's ranking, it's weird because it's tied to how many orbs you get and how long the level takes. Like I'm not asking to get S ranks on my first try here. I mean, at least on stream it's been like fluctuating between B ranks and C ranks. And I think I got like an A rank in one level, which was like a level that was 1 minute long anyway. So yeah, I'm planning to continue the game on stream. It may take 1 more or 2 more streams depending on how much I hunker down on it. The game is old. It's like from 2001, but some stuff in general holds up still. Like I'm still having a fun time with it, and that alone is telling me it's holding up. The camera does not. The voice acting obviously doesn't, but that makes it better in my eyes. Like it's kind of hilarious. The way Dante talks in this game is just like, this isn't modern Dante, and it's just like, for example, it's not Ruben Langdon. It's just some guy. I don't remember his name.
Is the first Devil May Cry the one with where he shouts the light line or something?
Oh
like that?
yes, and that's like at the end of the game.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's like this game. I looked on the back of the box after the stream, and it was like a terrifying action thriller. And I'm like, this game's not really scary, but I can see why they did that, because it was, again, originally one of the versions of RE4 before it got turned into Devil May Cry. And there's roots there. That's why it's like all fixed camera angles, why there's this big castle and everything.
That's still kind of funny to think of, that Devil May Cry came about from being originally Resident Evil.
So yeah, in a way, I'm already saying like this game's kind of worth playing, but I'll just say right now, I'm not a fan of the lives. Since I was like practicing a bit, I only lost 1 life so far, so I have a bunch of yellow orbs. I'm just like, that was never a system I was a fan of, which later games started to kind of like do away with, in a way. Whatever. Games, I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna continue streaming it. What else have I played? I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast. I've played a tiny bit of Fortnite. My friend Griff peer pressured me to play fucking Fortnite. Basically, almost sounded like he was begging on his knees, like, yeah, you should play Fortnite. I'm like, I don't want to. It was like, dude, do it. And I'm like, after like 5 weeks of begging, I'm like, fine, I'll play this stupid fucking Battle Royale game. Went in with a very bitter attitude, because I just do not give a shit about Battle Royale at all. At least the benefit with Fortnite is that it's free. Or at least Battle Royale's free, so it's like, I'm not wasting any money on this, at least. So whatever. I am so mixed on this, primarily for Battle Royale. It's just, in the grand scheme of things, I don't find it enjoyable. The only thing about Fortnite I found enjoyable is the 50v50 mode, where it's like 2 teams, and since the Battle Royale, you have to like drop down and get your supplies. But at least you have like a huge team to back you up, and it's more fun because like when you get towards the actual like inner circle where you're supposed to like meet up before like the wall closes in battle, everyone's just building big forts, and that's cool to see. That's a lot of fun. And compared to like what, solo and stuff, or like duos and whatever, where you have like one teammate with you, a lot of the time you're just going to be running around scavenging shit. Nothing happens, and either A, you get shot from fucking nowhere and die, or B, you do nothing, do the same thing, meet up, and then eventually lose at the end. or win if you're fucking no-lifing this game like most people on Twitch are. But
That's Battle Royale.
that's what happened. It is. I don't see the enjoyment out of this. A lot of this is just like empty to me. Like a lot of like this. I don't know if it's the best term to use, but a lot of dead space.
Well, that series is dead though. No pun intended.
Oh yeah, it's 100% dead. It's just like if I'm just enjoying a single mode in a strictly battle royale like section of Fortnite, because again, Fortnite has PvE, but you have to pay money for that. That's how Fortnite started, and that's like the only thing I'm kind of having fun with Fortnite. And even then, I just am very lukewarm on this game. Like, it runs well on PlayStation. Also, if you play on PlayStation, your Epic account is locked on there forever, so you can't play Fortnite anywhere else unless you have to start over. Great. But anyways, it runs well. It plays well. I just have a lot of problems with close quarters combat, where just like, I don't know how people aim in this game without a mouse and keyboard, especially if you're in close range and what you want to use a shotgun. People are just like perfect headshotting it, and if you have like full shields, full health, that's it. You're dead. Like, I'm very on and off on Fortnite. I don't really enjoy it, but I'm just like whatever on it. I used to be like 100%. Oh, what a stupid video game. And I play a bit of it, and I'm just like, I'm still not enjoying it, but I'm like not whatever. If the 50v50 mode in Fortnite taught me one thing, in that it was actually the only fun mode I like in Battle Royale. If Battlefield 5's stupid Battle Royale and Call of Duty's absolutely fucking stupid Battle Royale is team-based like that, I'd be more okay with, honestly. Like, if there's an option where it's like big-scale battles like that, which
I'd imagine at least Battlefield would do that. So that's sort of Battlefield's thing in general.
Yeah, so like it would like, because they're adding Battle Royale to their stupid fucking games. Yeah, I'm going full salt here. But anyways, if it's stuff like, oh, just one versus like everyone, like all free for all, no, hard pass. But if there's anything that was resembling 50-50, like with whatever player counts the games are going to have, because apparently Call of Duty kind of had a small leak. It may have a 60 player cap for Battle Royale, which is already inferior to a lot of the other Battle Royale stuff, which can go up to 100 max, but whatever. But if there's a thing where it could just have, like, at least for Call of Duty, if there's something like 2 teams of 30, I'd be okay with it. There's a lot of things in Black Ops 4 I am not okay with already. Battle Royale being the number one thing, and the fact that they removed the campaign, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, but the majority of people who play Call of Duty don't even bother with the campaigns most of the time anyway.
And even then, people are still mad, so yeah, that's not to say that they didn't fuck up, because they did. But I'd be willing to at least try the mode if there's something like that. If I even bother with Black Ops 4 this year, I don't know. And Battlefield 5, I would hope they do like what you said, where they actually have, like, even though it's like one life and whatever, just like one big team against another big team, and then just last team standing wins, obviously. Then I'd be willing to try that in Battlefield. But Battlefield has more to offer. At least has the Battlefield game, but whatever. I've gone off track of Fortnite because I've already said what I've said about Fortnite. I'm not going to be Hubert and mention Fortnite every podcast he's on.
So we'll just mention Monster Hunter every podcast that we're on.
I would argue that, but once it hits the end of August with Generations, that will be the next thing. But anyways, that's me. I bought Octopath Traveler. It's on my shelf. Let's move on. I'm supporting good RPGs.
But you know what else people can support? Viewer questions. Because we don't have any.
Oh, man.
But because AngelHalo is here, I actually want to recycle an old question because I'm curious what he would answer for it.
Shoot it over.
We were asked on the last podcast about conventions, favorite memories, weird things, crazy things that happened at a convention that you've seen. And I'm curious what your answer would be to that.
Not so much what I've seen, but last time I went to San Japan, I had a buddy with me. He's a big guy. He was trying to go for a cop. And we had this little event at San Japan called the Steel Samurai, which, if you're familiar with a game like Bushido Blade, it's basically that, but with foam weapons. And despite the fact that they're made of foam, they still hurt like hell when you hit someone with it.
Well, if you swing it hard enough.
Oh, I know. Like, fucking played Nerf swords with my sister. She, like, fucking whacked my arm hard.
Ow.
Shit hurts, dude. It hurts. You gotta be careful with that. And it didn't even break. But anyways, go on.
Anyway, so he got with a buddy of his who was from the police academy, and it's one of those little buddy cop things at this point. You know the type. Like Lethal Weapon, that sort of thing. Anyway. So it was 2-on-2. The both of them were just tearing through the tournament. And he was telling me about this guy, this smaller guy, kind of a nerdy type who was also boisterous. Like, he was for sure he was going to win the tournament. He was rubbing it in his face. And then my buddy was like, okay. So to get into match proper, and there's certain ways you have to approach combat like this because there's a safe way to do it, which is how they define it. And then there's a completely dumb way to do it. And one dumb way to do it is to go in head first. Because guess what happens when you go in head first?
You get decapitated by a foam weapon. That's why the cops showed up.
I would not be surprised if that actually happened, given how freakishly strong he is. But basically, he got his head whacked. Well, I heard the foam kind of whacked him at the eye, and then the guy was like on the ground crying up, and he like ran off. For me, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
What did he get hit in the head or in the eye?
In the head.
Okay, because I heard you say the word eye for some reason. I'd be like, dude, what the fuck?
I did say eye. I want to say it was probably a strike at the side of the orbital.
That's pretty close.
The only runner-up to that memory is when I was first exposed to, I can't pronounce the name right, but Johann Sebastian's Joust.
Oh, Johann Sebastian's Joust?
Thank you. The year before that was when I was first exposed to it. It was on the 3rd floor of the balcony of the convention center. And I was like, what the fuck was going on? Because I had nothing to do that day at the convention. So I was watching this everyone just gather around on this PlayStation 3 game, and then I see how it's played, and it's like, I want in on that. So I get in on that, and I've kind of become a sideshow attraction because I would always pull off like martial arts poses that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I somehow pull them off decently because no one else knows how to react.
So for people who haven't played Johann Sebastian Joust, could you explain a little bit about how the game works?
You ever have a spoon and put an egg on that spoon and you're instructed to not drop that egg? It's basically that. You're holding on to the PlayStation Move controller or PS3 or 4 controller, depending on the console you're playing on. And the idea is that you are to not violently shake it in any way, otherwise you get disqualified. And the whole point of the game is to move slowly to get other people to shake it, so everyone else but you get disqualified. And it spins up a bit because it'll play classical music at a slow rate, but when it picks up, the sensitivity gets reduced. So, in other words, when it's slow, your spoon is small, but when it's big, your spoon suddenly enlarges, if that gives you a better idea. My fondest memories, a couple of them is when there would be this one kid who took it very seriously. And I mean so seriously to the point where it sounded like he was having fun at first, but then he kept losing and started losing his shit. Like his sister was just taking it in stride, like, yeah, it's just a game, dude. But my other fondest memory is when I played against a guy who I could have sworn is Slow Beef from Something Awful. Like, he looks just like Slow Beef if he wore a classical outfit, a tuxedo without a vest. Or a jacket, sorry. So he would be all elegant about it. And I'm like, I'm taking you out, dude. The best memory, just to cap this off, is when there's two of us left, the both of us agree to joust. So what we would do is that we would carefully put the PlayStation Move controllers down, and then we would have one neutral guy come in to count us off while we're at the mark, and then we would dash at each other's Move controllers and try to like sort of kick it, grab it, whatever. That's the best moment right there. That's a lot of fun for me. Now, what was he going to say, SER?
That was actually exactly what I was going to say, because I participated in a couple of those.
Yeah, maybe you can give me your own tale on that.
Well, I was involved in a couple of jousts when I went to San Japan last year and played this with you. I remember one joust where, okay, so there's a line of chairs kind of around the space, but we try not to go into them. Someone jousted so hard they just slid through the chairs. Because I do the joust and touch the controller, and I hear this crash behind me. And I look back, and there's this big gap in the chair row.
When you intend to do a level 1 super move and you ended up doing a level 3 input. I hope we get to see them again this year. That'd be kind of fun.
Well, actually, Jordan, how about the fact that you got us that best room ever at ConnectiCon? That was actually kind of on you.
Yeah, back in 2010, we never got it again. But
never again. That once in a lifetime opportunity.
You know what? If I may extend my answer, that was the first time I ever went on a convention with you guys. And I just happened to find that room at a Marriott in the first hotel I ever had to put money into or gave money to Blondie over here because I wasn't 21 at the time.
Yeah, we were young back then, I guess.
Yes, there were only 2 adults at the time.
Well, two of us that were old enough to book the room.
Yeah, pulling on my collar as you say that. But man, it was like $100 a night, and we had a fucking apartment. It was a suite actually, but still had like 2 stories on that one. A big fucking living room with a pull-out bed. Then we had a whole kitchen, and then a whole upstairs, another bedroom. I've actually reserved something like that for San Japan. It also happened to be the cheapest, partly because I get corporate discount to go with it.
Like the question was for like just best convention memories, right? Just in general.
Best, craziest, weirdest.
Yeah. I think the ones that stood out the most for me that I can recall right off at the moment would be back in my first Con Bravo. One of the funniest things I remember seeing there, and I actually did get on camera too, was Keith Avocary was there, and at one point he was being pushed around in a Cruisin' Exotica arcade machine. Like he was like quote unquote driving a Cruisin' Exotica arcade machine around at the convention. So that's probably my most zany memory that I have of mine. I think the one that probably stood out to me a lot would be well, this is also Con Bravo, but this was a few years later, when I actually got Pro Jared to sign my Final Fantasy Mystic Quest strategy guide, and the reaction that he had to me showing how the main character looks an awful lot like him was priceless. And I'm glad Zero filmed it too, to see that reaction, and his wife got a kick out of it too. And that also actually kind of leads into this year at EGLX, because Pro Jared was there this year, and I actually brought him Hydlide for him to sign, like the NES Hydlide. And when I ran into him and talked to him and all that, and then it's like, hey, I got stuff for you to sign. If you don't mind. He's like, oh yeah, sure. And I bring out Hydlide. He immediately just smacks it to the ground, like without hesitation.
Well, to be fair, that would be my natural reaction too.
I guess to Hydlide, yeah, but but just to have that happen was that I got a really good kick out of that. So that's just a few of my convention highlights, really.
I need to do that for Play at Bogart, but he'll probably just wipe it on his butt and do a dance for me just to show off his speedo.
Sure.
So, if you have a question that you want answered on the podcast, you can ask it in the YouTube comments section. You can ask it on the site upload. You can ask it on Facebook, facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. You can also ask us on
Shout Engine.
And we'll answer it from there as well. But for now, we go to what's new. So guys, what videos are you working on? What games are you looking forward to? Unreal.
Sonic Mania is in a few days. Well, Sonic Mania Plus to be exact. That's in a few days. Gonna be picking that up. And like in terms of like games, like I've said it on multiple podcasts, because there's like nothing new added into that list. There's Yakuza, there's Monster Hunter. Yay. I guess I'll put it here. Right now, during the podcast, Kineticon's actually going on right now. I'm not there. I didn't want to go. I haven't gone to Kineticon in a couple of years because I haven't been happy with their prices and their everything. So instead, in September, there's something happening at the Hartford Convention Center, same place as Kineticon, something called Retro World Expo. It's a smaller con because it's only for 2 days, a Saturday and a Sunday, and I will most likely be going. I have not bought my ticket yet, but it's something I want to go with my one friend that I play D&D with. We're both most likely going to go. We're still talking about it. It's probably only going to be for 1 day, which is fine, but this, like a con like this, seems more up my personal alley because video games. They're still slowly announcing guests and stuff, I believe, because it's still like, as of right now, 2 months away. But I might be able to go there and maybe I'll film some stuff there. I still haven't even put out my Anime North video. I gotta work on that. So in general, I'm looking forward to Retro World if I actually get the money to go. In terms of videos, like I just mentioned, the Anime North video has to be done. Nothing new outside of that. No real brand new video plans that I may or may not have like mentioned before on previous episodes. So in general, that will do it for me in terms of updates. Who's up next? Someone take the spot.
Blonde man.
That's me. Yeah, I really hate to be a broken record of stuff where it's like, oh, it's not done, but I swear that my next major video is coming out. I am working on it. I've just been having like a weird fluctuation. I tend to get this now and then of when I work on videos. Like I have been working at it in like just random spurts of like okay, now I'm gonna work on it some, and it's just this video has just been a little bit daunting. At least that's part of the reason why it's taking so long to get done in the first place. But I'm not gonna throw excuses. It's just gonna be done when it's done finally. So I'll just say that. And I still need to do the Anime North video too. I wanted to at least get that done before I do that, because I didn't want to do like 2 convention videos in a row on my channel type of thing. Once those are done, I'm gonna try and get better on track on like getting stuff actually regularly released. And that way it's not like just me, not just months of like nothing really going on and me saying the same crap over and over every like 2 weeks or so on the podcast. So
AngelHalo?
As far as video making goes, I say it all the time that at some point I would like to come back. I've been working little by little to make that happen, such as buying light guns for my computer, which are a pretty expensive investment, and I still haven't fully used it. But other than that, I don't really have any plans. I can say that as far as life plans go, I would like to advance in my career a bit. Could be later this year or next year, if that counts. Mostly just trying to tidy up some real life stuff. I do have some ideas, but the time in the motivation plays a huge part of it. I still haven't decided what the hell I'm going to do, to be honest with you. So it's part of why I've been away from the podcast scene for a while. So until I got any real updates, I wouldn't expect to see much of me.
We'll take what we can get.
And you will take crap. Crap spewing from the maw because I don't want bullshit to fling from the lips.
What?
I'm good.
So what's new with you, SCR?
That leaves me?
Yeah?
Well, I just recently put out a Strumming the Bass line, which was supposed to be for the 4th of July, but I settled for the 14th of July.
Nah, it's fine.
Close enough. Anyway, I'm also doing a little more streaming now. I've started speedrunning Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn, and trying to get it close to like 1 hour 10 minutes. But right now I'm at about 1 hour 12 and a half. I'm still working out different strategies to basically go faster.
Can I interject? This is related. During the podcast, I checked my email. Gamefly said, we've shipped Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. Against all odds, at very low availability, with 2 other games in my queue, Shaq Fu is being sent. So maybe I can actually try to speedrun race you once I learn how to route it. That'd be fun.
Oh man, coming soon to RCG, Shaq Fu race.
Oh man. Keep in mind, I'm on the Switch version, so there'd be some version discrepancy. Anyway, continue.
For other videos, I don't really want to talk about Fearless because I just have a small backlog of those to go through. But other than that, I'm still working on Evermore. I'm more than halfway through the game in the recording phase, and the script is developing. I don't expect this to be as long as the Secret of Mana video was. Of course, I say that now, but we'll see what actually happens. I say that and then it'll just be a thing where the script is 1 page shorter.
So it'll only be an hour long.
No, 58 minutes.
Okay. Sub an hour.
There actually is a surprising amount to talk about with that game, though, as far as how it came together, what happened while it was being made.
Oh, not surprisingly.
But I think that is it for me. So, we have reached the end of the podcast. Once again, I'm SCXCR.
I am Unreal.
I'm Blondeguygamer.
And I'm going to do my daily routine.
I'm going to a yard sale. I think I have 30 minutes left. It's up my street. Maybe I'll find some sick deals.
You think you have 30 minutes left? Think again!
Think again, we put the games away. No yard sale for you. You got caught slipping because of the podcast.